Danny Gilfillan for Boxing News. Delighted to be joined by the White Rhino Dave Allen. Dave, the worst kept secret in boxing is no longer a secret. You're locking horns with Arslanbek Makhmudov. I know you said about this fight that you were given 6 names. Eddie's parroted the name that Dave needed someone he'd be scared of. But I wonder, is it a stylistic choice as well from what you've seen from Makhmudov?
Yeah, it was a case of after the Fisher fight, we had like a 6 to 8 week period of time where it was just a case of waiting, really. What was going to happen? Was we actually going to go to Sheffield? Was I going to land on an undercard somewhere like a Benn Eubank, or then was I going to box TKV? Was I going to box the European champion, the German fella? I think he's based in Germany. So after a few weeks, it was like, right, we might box TKV for the British. We didn't really give Clark any thought, really. We thought that I would get TKV off the back of Fisher. And then I asked about boxing a few different opponents. There's a few Germans, Lenroy Thomas. And Ed said, look, they're not good enough, really, for the money we're paying you to headline Sheffield on his own. Like, you're going to have to box someone good. So when the TKV fight fell through, instead of going back and forth, gone boxer, can I box him, what do you think of him? I said, just give me a list of names, like what you're happy with, and I'll pick one. That's simple as that, really. Sent me the list through: Tony Yoka, Alexis Barriere, Otto Wallin, Makhmudov, and Nelson Heiser. So, I mean, they're all very good fighters. For one reason or other, I didn't fancy the other 4. I think Barriere's a good fighter, but I didn't think he was a big enough name to really try and push selling tickets at Sheffield. Yoke had already boxed and didn't really fancy the job again. Heiser, I thought about, but I thought Makhmudov's been on Riyadh season shows. He's a name. He's dangerous. He has 19 knockout wins, most of them inside 1 round. So he was the common sense choice, really, that the public. Every boxing fan knows who he is, but even the wider public will look at him and go, God, that's a scary fella. Look at his record and say he can fight, and he certainly can. I feel personally the bookies have got me as a slight favourite, but I thought and still think I'm a big underdog in the fight. So yeah, it was one I was excited about, and said to Ed, why not? This is a chance for me to propel myself into maybe world class heavyweight boxing.
You talk a bit there about how Makhmudov is well known in the boxing sphere. I know you're a student of the game, particularly the heavyweights. When did he first come onto your radar?
Oh, years ago. Maybe when he was like, he was knocking everybody out. And you know what? He's beat good fighters. He has beaten good fighters. The last fella he boxed, I think, was an Olympian. He's beat some very good fighters, like I would say, like, he's been knocking guys out in 1 or 2 rounds to the level of like a Nit Webb, who are good fighters. He's beat a lot of domestic level guys in 1 or 2 rounds. So, and he has 2 losses. He lost to an Olympian in Vianello, and lost to Cabello, who's possibly one of the best heavyweights in the world. So, if you rewind 10 months, people were saying that I shouldn't be boxing Johnny Fisher because it's too dangerous for me. I'm going to get stopped in 1 round. And now I'm the favourite against Arslanbek Makhmudov. So, I look at it through no. I don't look at it as giving myself any favour or bias. I'm an underdog in the fight. He's beat a lot of good fighters. He beat Carlos Takam, while old, still knows what he's doing. He could still argue a level above me. So, I think it's a big ask for myself.
You touched on those defeats to Guido Vianello and Ajit Cabello. They changed the public's perception, I think, of Arslanbek Makhmudov. He was seen as very much a boogeyman of the division, maybe exploited some holes in his game. When you watched him prior to those fights, did you see those holes there, the crudeness that people talk about?
Yeah, I watched him in the WSB. I watched him at Box Amateur. I think he was #1 Russian. That's not easy to do. He boxed WSB, beat Jose Lardio in the WSB, had a lot of good wins in the WSB over 5 rounds. So I watched him in the WSB and I thought, God, I hope he don't revert back to that style, because we will be in trouble. He couldn't really box. He's big and long. He had a good jab. As a pro, he just turned into like a bit of a wrecking ball. And I thought, that suits me. But I think they will look at me and think that I suit them as well. I'm there to be hit. But I'm hoping that he does come and have a go, and I'll just be a little bit too slippery for him. I will get through them rounds. and I'll be fit enough to up it and up it and up it like Cabell did, but it'll probably take me a bit longer because I'm not as good as Cabell. Vianello did it differently. He moved, you know, he boxed, he did it with speed. I'm not going to do anyone really for speed and for movement, so I'm going to do it the Cabell way, but I think if I am to do it, it will just take me a little bit longer.
You sort of bring me on to my next question there. You talk about Makhmudov's amateur pedigree, which I think a lot of people are unaware of or maybe don't give enough credit to. Is there a plan B in the unlikely event he does decide to box?
Yeah, it won't be great. I think as a pro, he's had 22 fights and he's only boxed one way, so we're very hopeful he'll continue that. Very hard now to go back into boxing. If he does go back into that, it'll be a long night for me. It'll be a harder night, but it's going to be hard either way. If he comes and tries to take me out of that, it's going to be hard as well. It's going to be very difficult, but he does have the ability to box. So that is in the back of my mind. But we expect the Arslanbek Makhmudov that we've seen for the last 7-8 years as a pro. That's what I am expecting. That's what we're preparing for. And that's a hard enough ask as it is.
You mentioned a bit earlier there, you've opened up a betting favourite for the fight. A lot of people, respected voices in boxing, trainers, pundits, are picking you to win the fight. Some people in very good one-sided fashion almost. How do you make sure that complacency doesn't creep in?
Yeah, I don't get complacent. I see myself as an underdog. I look at our records side by side. You take the Johnny Fisher wins out of the equation. Before the Fisher fight, you wouldn't even put me in the ring with Makhmudov. They were saying Fisher was too dangerous for me. Never mind Makhmudov, and I think Makhmudov's a level or two above where Johnny Fisher is. So it just shows boxing really. You're only one bad performance or good performance away from your whole people's perception of you completely changing. So there's no complacency from me. I'm aware this will be the best win of my career, and I think it's going to be the hardest fight as well. Because stylistically, it's going to get physically hard very fast. So that's why I'm in the gym early. I've been in the gym for a few weeks, and I'm going to have to be ready and on it for him.
Since the Johnny Fisher fight, you were always a very popular guy, but it feels like your profile's exploded a bit. Spent a bit of time around you in London, and lots of people coming up to you for pictures. I just wonder, there's that old saying that when someone becomes a world champion, they feel a new sense of confidence in themselves. Is a similar thing? Do you feel that in yourself? The way you dealt with Johnny Fisher, even watching your YouTube channel and interviews, I do feel like I see a more confident Dave Allen.
Yeah, I do feel more confident. Yeah, I feel like I'm experienced. I've got the experience now. I didn't have many amateur fights. Did well as an amateur. I won a national title and that, and I was a good amateur, and I always had ability, but I never believed in myself. I didn't feel I had any experience, and I never trained though, and I never trained with that. With having no confidence, I didn't have the belief to get up and go and think I could do anything. So that's really changed now. I really feel like I've got a chance here to do something good. I can win some domestic titles. Hopefully make a bit of money and put a body of work together now that I can finish and be proud of, and people say he was a good fighter. So yeah, I do have confidence. But at the same time with Makhmudov, I'm more aware than anyone how good he is, how dangerous he is. So complacency won't be a thing. And yeah, I am a bit nervous, a bit of trepidation around it. Yeah.
You've always said that headlining the O2 against the former world champion and Lucas Browne was the highlight of your career, the biggest night of your career. Does topping the bill at the Sheffield Arena against a fighter who I think the majority of people will say is a more dangerous task than that version of Lucas Browne, do you think that could maybe surpass it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it will. Yeah, I think I sold out Sheffield Arena. Will, but I have to win it though. You have to win it. If you don't win it, it's all well and good headlining venues, and I headlined in Paris at the Dome de Palais against the Olympic gold medalist, but I got beat, so I don't talk about that too much. So I have to win it, but I'm very, very proud of being in this position. Yeah.
Just away from October, we've got the news now. Johnny Fisher has parted ways with Mark Tibbs, linked up with Tony Sims. What's your thoughts on that move for Johnny? Do you think a freshen up of surrounding circumstances, fresh pair of eyes, fresh pair of hands could do him some good?
Yeah, I think a move's always good. He come up here for a few days. He didn't come up here on a trial basis, or he weren't coming up here to possibly train by Nigel and Jay. He just came. It was a good bit of content for us both, really, coming up and get himself back in the swing of things. I think the plan was always to probably go with Tony, local to home, and Tony's got a great track record of his boxers as well. So yeah, I think it will add something to him, and hopefully it does. I only hope it does great things, really. I know we boxed twice, but we got on well before. We still got on well now. I only wish him the best.
I saw a clip of Mark speaking, I think it was with seconds out, and he said he didn't really want the rematch to take place. He said he felt Johnny wasn't experienced enough, wasn't strong enough. There was some debate over whether the game plan he deployed was the right strategy. You've always said that you thought the rematch was too soon, but was there anything Johnny could have done different on night that you think maybe would have been for a slightly better outcome for him?
No. I told him after the first fight he wouldn't beat me, because the first time I boxed him, I'd done 2 4-rounders, but the 4-rounders were just, I was going through the motions really, do you know what I mean? Like, I boxed 2 journeymen over 4 rounds. I was going through the motions to do the rounds really. I was selling tickets and putting my own money in. So I'm not sure how much I got out of him really. So the first fight I was terrible. I was physically fit luckily. Like the Fraser Clark fight, it was similar to the Fraser Clark fight, but Fraser Clark is a lot more experienced and further on than Johnny. So Fraser Clark beat me. The first Fisher fight obviously was close, but with that 10 rounds behind me, getting straight back in the gym and doing another training camp again, there was only ever going to be one result really. He didn't have the experience to beat me. He was never going to beat me in the rematch, and I knew. That's why I waited. I knew he wasn't going to beat me. And Mark, I don't know, that's nothing to do with me, but I knew personally he was never going to beat me in the rematch. Yeah, no, I was very confident he weren't going to beat me.
Just a couple more things I want to get your thoughts on. I'll let you go. Now, I know this, I've watched your breakdown on your YouTube channel, but Moses Itauma, Dillian Whyte, coming up soon. Do you think people are maybe not giving Dillian enough credit for some of the predictions we're seeing out there? Itauma inside 2, around, some are saying?
Yeah, Itauma's super fast and sharp, and he's got it, hasn't he? The kid's got it. I think if I had to bet, I think he will be a heavyweight champion in the world, but to box Dillian Whyte now is early. He's only 20. He's not really boxed anyone at Dillian Whyte's level. Dillian Whyte hasn't boxed much the last few years. He didn't look great the last 2 times. I don't really take much notice of that, really. It's more the inactivity and the age than the poor performances. Poor performances are poor performances. You know, we boxed. Who did he box last time? Tete. Yeah. He was poor, but I don't take much heed of that really. It's the time between the fights more than anything. I think a time will be too sharp and too young and too fresh for him, but Dillian Whyte sticking one on his chin wouldn't overly surprise me. It'd be interesting how he takes it.
Very last thing, the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn looks to be a done deal for November. Now, my understanding is the terms around weight and rehydration will be the same. With that in mind, does it lead you to think we might see a different result, or do you think Eubank might have a bit too much again?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it really. You know, to be honest, the first fight, yeah. I don't know. It was a great fight, wasn't it? So hopefully if the fight's happening, it's a great fight again, and they all come out safe and healthy.
Absolutely, Dave. Appreciate your time. I know you've done a lot of media today, and maybe a bit still to do, but thanks very much. Looking forward to seeing you in October.
Cheers, mate.